Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the canyon. I hope you're ready for a ghost ride, because that's what we're going to do today. It came from the live stream. What I should have done at the time was number them. When we started, it came from the live stream. I don't even know. 5, 6, 7. How many have we built on live streams? I don't know. The amount of work to finalize this one after we came off the live stream was not a lot. Was not much. There's the necessary bits. If we're doing the full-on canyon build, we have to have canyon trails. They have to be on Canyon Custom soft inserts, which they are. So I put together some 105s, another of the tritones. We're loving the tritone kit bashed. I ordered gold 105 clones, and I ordered gold beadlock rings. Neither of those colors are gold. We do have a nice tritone action though. We've got a bronze hub. That's orange. That's an orange wheel. And what's metallic yellow? I mean, that's more like a zinc color than it is gold. But nevertheless, underneath we do have some gold. MEUS gold flake. This rig is destined for faraway lands. Decided betwixt myself and the collective, it is headed for the faraway land of Spain. It will have 2 runs here in the canyon. The ghost ride, which we're going to complete today, and then I will paint the body. I will go through and make sure we have optimized the fasteners. I will make sure it has things like the lock nut that's supposed to be right there that holds the whole front end on. We'll make sure it has stuff like that. I feel particularly strong about the fitment of the body on this. There are a lot of bodies I don't believe in chopping up, and even with this one, I could have gotten a little bit lower. It could have dropped down a little bit more, but I don't want to chop it up. So this is the amount it gets chopped up. The biggest amount of chopping up that had to happen was cutting down the sides. A creep cab is very narrow, so there should be another line here for a strap, but you can just put the strap around the outside. You could maybe get a 1500 in there, but I think an 850 is probably in the sweet spot. Also, the little stuff, okay? For those unaware, if you're running servo and axle, it makes no difference at all what knuckle the drag link goes to. I like to flip them and run it this way, because then we can run, because the receiver box is on this side. If I was running the receiver box on this side, I would have flipped the servo so that the output comes out over there. But I wanted to run it on this side because it's a little easier to see if we don't have the body on it, yeah? Got a fitment so incidentally snug that we've got the 2 thumb nuts, and then the body just lifts up. That's it. That's all it holds the body on. But, let's see. If you're into that performance sort of stuff, that body weighs 76 grams. That's under 3 ounces, right? 0.16 pounds, 2.65 ounces. So if you're really squeezing your performance, bro, you put a single layer of paint. You paint this black. You paint a single layer of it on the inside, and this body remains under 3 ounces complete. And we cut off a minimal amount of it. It still looks like a J-Concepts creep. And on a good day, they're $20, and on a bad day, they're $25. It's virtually impossible to beat that. We went full Canyon. It has to be the full Canyon experience. Amazon Blue Case, Canyon Trails, Canyon Customs, 105 clones, Fusion SE 1800, and everything else. Aside from, there's some little quality of life stuff in here. An axial receiver box fits perfectly. I had considered not running one, but these guys are clearly marketed towards a Traxxas audience, because that wire to the receiver, if you pulled it up, goes to about here. So this is just full of wraps of wire, because the wire for that comes up. All these wires are too long, but I like to treat every piece of electronics as if it is just visiting, because there might be a day when the motor gets changed, the servo gets changed, everything gets changed, and then you can use those components elsewhere and not have to worry about the wires having been cut to where they're too short. Right? There is a little bit in that quality of life improvement. So they do a nice job of their crushed carbon-faced T-case on here. It is I want to say it's 30%. I should have kept the sheet. I want to say it's 30% rear underdrive. What I think it is, in my experience, because Gary MEUS is like a spiritual brother to this, that's too much. I feel like it gets a little bit of a feeling of it's dragging the rear end around, particularly because we fitted it with Canyon Trails. And Canyon Trails don't really like those big 25+% underdrive, overdrive numbers. So I just found this out myself because I've been glossing over it. The stock gears inside the MEUS portals are 1927. The stock gears inside of a Vanquish axle, a portal, are 2028, and the overdrive gears, the ones that come in, say, a VRD, are 1830. Is that right? 27, 1829, 1830? Regardless, I have put the overdrive Vanquish gears in the rear axle of here, and because there is that parts coming out, I grabbed the wrong wrench. Because there's that overwhelming parts commonality between Vanquish and the MEUS axles, we just took some cast-offs from VRDs. So it's got VRD overdrive gears back here to reduce that huge overdrive percentage, and it's got the little pancake knuckle weights, and everything goes right together. The fitment is good. As I said, there's a little bit of fastener optimization stuff if you buy anything MEUS, the chassis set, the axles, this is a MEUS meets Vanquish. This is S8E shocks, stocks from a straight axle Phoenix. I want to say straight axle Phoenix. So mostly MEUS. There's a little bit of Vanquish. There's a bit of Canyon on here. I can't remember who the servo horn is from. I think it might be an axial. It's not the fastest servo you've ever met, but it's great. It's great, and they're like $30. So that was the thing. Part of when we sat down to build this initially, when my buddy and I were ordering the parts, bits, and pieces to build this, we were looking at the state of the market, and is there a point now? There's virtually no point in buying an RTR unless, aside from the select few, like a TRX4 Sport. Because MEUS will sell you a chassis set that has the FMM and the gearbox for $140. And the solitary drawback of it is they haven't managed to get their spur gears to be round. This is a takeoff spur gear end mount from an axial base cam. Mounts exactly the same. The axles. The solitary drawback of the MEUS axles is they favor on the outer portal boxes and for the screws that hold the diff covers on. They use button head 2.5 millimeter screws that use a 1.5 millimeter driver, and they are not of a great quality. So I replaced them all with cap heads. Oh man, I forget that these have little unrestrained. We'll find that later. So in terms of drawbacks, the drawbacks are minimal. We've got the little screws, and we've got a non-concentric spur, but you replace the spur out. I'm listening. I don't hear anything. So, $80 for axles, $140 for a chassis. This is the RC Lions link set from Amazon, $17. So we're at what? Call it $240. Servo will take us to $275. Motor will take us to about $350. Wheels, tires, and inserts all inclusive. Let's call it $80. So we're about $430. So we're now sitting at what we would spend on a VRD kit or a 10 Pro kit. And the only thing that we're short at this moment is I never count the cost of a radio, because you either have one or you're going to buy one. And it doesn't matter what you buy, you're going to need one. If you buy an RTR, you won't use that radio for very long, except in about 3 notable instances. The big 11 channel that comes on an FCX10. The one that comes with a Vanquish is perfectly acceptable, but at some point you will decide to treat yourself and buy a nice radio. And by nice, I mean, this radio is $70. You'll buy a $50 radio. You know, the radio, when your radio is one of the cheapest electronic components, if we went to any other servo, it's basically going to cost more than that radio. So I don't count the cost of that radio. You add the bits and the bobs and the gubbins, and you are still, like, you heard I had never mentioned shocks? Yeah, $30 puts Chavtex on it. We're at now, what, maybe $460? We're well under $500, finished. We're around $500 if you want to be pedantic and include the radio in the cost. And we're not just RTR, but it lives in a position, it sits as it does, where nothing needs to be replaced. Yes, the servo and the motor and arguably the wheels and tires and inserts and all that are economical choices. I run that particular insert in more tires than I run anything here because they work. They work in any environment. They don't appear to really break down over time. They're inexpensive. They don't care if it's hot. They don't care if it's cold. They don't care if you add or remove weight from the vehicle. I run Canyon Softs and or Canyon Mediums on vehicles anywhere from 5 pounds to 9 pounds. And I can't honestly, off the top of my head, think of another insert that you can just do that. 3D printed inserts are pretty happy in a very narrow band. Generally, if you change them to another tire or another rig, the performance is going to go one way or the other. It might get better, it might get worse. The RC Lions link kit on the MEUS chassis is a perfect 330 millimeter wheelbase. I love me a 330 millimeter wheelbase, and I think that this chassis is perfect for, we're going to say it a third time, a 330 millimeter wheelbase, because I don't see putting anything other than a cab on this. Why, Kevin? Why? Because it's you know, time has not shown us whether structured carbon, aka trash carbon, is structured carbon up to the task. I mean, I think so. I think layered, oriented 3K twill weave carbon fiber is probably overly strong for what we're doing. And so long as you've got a couple braces in there, you should be absolutely fine. Is there a potential for you to put a carbon fiber chassis on your vehicle and shatter it? Absolutely. It's carbon fiber. Its modulus of failure goes, we're good, we're dead. That's how carbon fiber works. It doesn't flex and then return. It will deflect until it breaks. And when it fails catastrophically. That is the joy of carbon fiber. So it is untested. It is set up like rear pinion angle looks phenomenal. Front pinion angle, I would usually kick the axle a little more, but I got the servo perfectly flat, and it's got, I might as well take it off again. It's got a solid amount of caster on it. Like, it's over 20 degrees for sure, and that's where I like to be, because I like big caster, and I will not lie. If you're getting full lock to look a little bit like a road grader, we don't get a ton of camber gain on that full turn, but there's some, and I will take maneuverability. You will sacrifice a little bit of pure forward drive, like how hard the front end pulls, because you're transferring that amount of traction over to this, where we go zip, and we go like this, and it will turn in real tight. It can almost climb a metal sign. Let's see. Oh. And that is a metal sign. Can we reposition? Also, it has gotten the full dry slide treatment, so it's not bad. It's not bad. We have no wheel. We've got no wheel wobble. You can see that front tire getting a little wobble. We don't really have any wheel time on it, so that insert and that tire have not developed a relationship yet. This is a MEUS Gold Flake build. It is MEUS. It's got a little bit of Vanquish. It's got a little bit of Canyon. It's going to Spain. It's going to run this Ghost Ride. We go to the usual spots. We see how it does on the side hill. We see how it does on the pure. And you get to see it. They're used tires. They have to be. We've used every Canyon. There are no new Canyon trails here. We're going to take it out there, and we're going to run it around. And we're going to try not to bash the body up too much. And then we're going to paint it, and we're going to put it together, and we'll take it through a couple of paces. Maybe we'll take it over Deadline in its farewell show. Maybe we'll run it through Green Line. You know, we'll run it around and hit those places we all know so well. And then we will find a suitable box, and we'll ship it across the ocean, and it will live a happy life. Not on a farm. I assume somewhere in a city. But before we do that, I gotta dig around on the floor and find. I think I might put a dab of glue on those. Just a little dab of glue. Goes like this, slides right down. I'm particularly proud of how this body mounted. Tighten these down. Head out to where the rocks live, and see how we do. I can't take much credit for the success or the failure. I mean, I can take all the blame, but I can't take much of the credit. MEUS did the heavy lifting with the Not a 10 Pro. I mean, I think that looks good. And we're looking at, in the terms of the money that we spend on our toy cars, we're looking at something particularly economical. 500 RTR. And when I say RTR, I mean truly RTR. This is ready to do the things. It does not need anything replaced. Will these be the perfect spring rates? Don't know. Is that the perfect gearing? I don't know. Are these the perfect tires? I have no idea. What I do know is this is how it's going. And it is up to the final, it is up to the owner, the recipient, to Don't carry your scale when you turn it on. We'll start in the international units. They make more sense because I'm curious. It hasn't gone on a scale yet. This will gain, let's give it a 30 gram potential plus on it because it's going to gain paint. That's it. Nothing else is going on here. 2464. That's not bad. It's not bad. 5.43 pounds. It's kind of perfect. Could you get it lower? Sure. I made no efforts at weight reduction, nor would I. It's got the big metal guys, front and rear. It's got metal drive shafts. And it's got all metal wheels. I wouldn't change it. I don't know off the top of my head. You know what? We've already taken this wheel off 4 times. Let's do it again. We'll get an idea. Got to go back to grams again. Is there a kitchen scale out there that does nothing but grams and ounces? I could use that. 181. So I would like them a little heavier. I'd like a little heavier. That's about 764? 724. That's 724 grams. I would probably put brass rings in the front. Hold on. We'll jingle through the cabinet. Not in there. Do we have a sacrificial pair? Can we donate a pair of brass? Oh wait, nope. I forgot. They wouldn't be in there anyway. They would be in here. Y'all have one of these, right? You've all put so many brass rings in. Hey. There we go. Because that, so 30 grams, 90 grams. So that would take the fronts from 180 to minus 30 is 150 plus 62. Yeah, perfect. I'm going to put those rings in. Not today. I already mounted them. Look at these big guys. What do I have to do with them? Nothing. Can I get rid of them? Absolutely not. What if I need those? All right. So I'm making we're operating off of an assumption based on interpolation that I feel like at a 330, I feel like we might need a little bit more weight up in the front. Rotating mass is not the end all. It's not the hyper recommended, but it is very inexpensive. Inexpensive to the point where I just pulled them out of a drawer. I don't even have to buy anything. Going to the big thicky knuckle weights, which are put away in a box. Dang it, is probably a better choice. We're trying to keep it economical here. We're trying to keep it economical because we're not trying to keep it economical because it was built as a giveaway to give away to a person who deserves it. But I want you to know and I want you to see that the money that most of these things cost is not justified. It's not justified. It is my recommendation, gleaned from building these things. If you want to build a 10 Pro, if you want to build up a 10 Pro, if you want to build up a VRD, by the time it's done, it's going to cost you $800, $800 to $1,000. This is sub 500, and it's done. Let's just call it 500. Do you get more for your money? Well, you get to buy a name when you buy an Axial or a Vanquish. I think that MEUS, among the manufacturers out there, are actually doing things. MEUS are listening to what people want. I think Injora is as well. And I wish that other manufacturers would as well. But I guess I don't know, maybe they have to watch the bottom line just that much closer. I don't know. Before it turns into too much introspection indoors, we will get this outdoors and we will get introspective out there. I also, a little bit, we transferred Smooth. This is chain wax for bicycles. If you put that on spurt and pinion, body's a bit of an amp, but you'll get no motor noise out of a Fusion. It should be somewhere between good and great. And the best way to find out is to go find out. I will say, it's pretty smooth. S8Es, leaky. Run them upside down, does okay. They are smooth. If they would hold oil in them, man, how great would it be if they would hold oil in them? They really kind of don't. Just the cab on this wheel, This boy lanky. This boy looking real lanky. Of the not a real quote unquote name brandy FMM T-case combos, the MEUS one is pretty good. The MEUS one is pretty good. Yes. Yes. I had driven it around inside the workshop, and if you can tell when driving around on a painted wood floor that the overdrive underdrive split is not what that tire is looking for, you you know that is not what it is looking for. This is really good. This is really good. Little throttle adjustment. Yeah. You know what these Canyon trails need? They need what most every other tire out there needs. They need that time. They need that time and that grind. They need to get that feather on. This is a mismatched set. We have a bunch of cut Canyon trails here. Somewhere out here, some vehicle in the fleet, probably one of the twins, has a pair that's more worn than the other pair. Who else is on? Because Kronk came off Canyon trails. Whoever got Canyon trails recently has kind of the other two from this set. We have two tires that are a little bit more worn than the others. I don't think it's the twins, because I think I cut all 8 of their tires. I did. I cut all of 8 of their tires at the same time. And not only did I not notice it until right now, but when I mounted them up, I want to say it's driver front and passenger rear have a little bit more feather on them than the other two. So it's crisscrossed. They're doing just fine though. This amount of underdrive overdrive is right nice. There is a real, and brought to you in some small part by a 330 wheelbase. I said it. Take a shot. I said 330 wheelbase. Stability, man. It feels real solid down on the ground. Did I program cruise control? I did. We can do a little cruisy climb. A little more. A little cruise climb action. That's where we no-hander lander it. Oh, it hit the marker. It hit the marker. And we got a flop over out of it. You gotta get it out of the way. Okay, all right, I'm feeling it. The suspension is getting rid of that sleepy overnight stiction. The wheel tire insert trio is kind of settling in. Get a little grab right there. Oh, all this thing needs is time. All it needs is time. The randomly chosen shock and link positions. Is there room for improvement? There's kind of always room for improvement. But we've wheeled it for like 4 minutes. So I would touch, I don't even know if I'd put brass rings in it. Well, okay, hold on. Let's find out right now if I would put brass rings in it. Because we got to get into that big transfer. We'll go for a usual entry here. You don't mind the rise if you get that degree of set down. And I try to split my eyes into segments. I'm trying, like right here, perfect example. What's grabbing, what isn't? So we're dividing the traction, and I mention a lot in between the wheelbase. we're kind of getting in between the lug right there. It's basically, these are fresh from the bag Tim Tins, freshly fridge foamed. We got to get everything. We got to get all the, the longer the soup is in the pot, the better it gets. Little medium speed stuff here. Wrap around. Okay, there's a little bit of lug noise. That's the first of our ship noises. Appreciably tight across. Oh, right. What? Okay, that's bad line there. Get it. I'm gonna stay in it. I think it'll wrap. I think we're gonna get that driver's side to push back. Little throttle. Okay, I let off too soon. Yeah, there it is. I kept letting off. Grab that edge. Oh yeah, that is a nice maneuverability. And get up over. Need a little more. Little bump. There we go. There are some advantages to that big long wheelbase. Most of what you get with that big long wheelbase is advantages. Turn circle generally suffers because you're just physically longer. But we've got a nice steer angle on these. Got a good amount of caster. I think, I need to come back. I want to see exactly where it rubbed. Where was that? That's right top edge of the, right top edge of the fender right there. And that part of the fender still, does it still have the vertical edge? Yes, it still has the vertical edge. I was wondering, it makes the fender tougher if I leave that vertical edge. So I left it. I mean, realistically, if you're going all performer, you would probably just cut the fenders all the way off. I still haven't decided. That's not... Yeah, it's all in one spot. I could see it that time. It's all in one spot where that noise is coming from. And only on one side, it appears. Yeah, those micro hesitations are the things that when we're doing a quick view of a tire, we go, well, I mean, it shouldn't be doing that. Canyon Trail punches so high above its weight that those little hesitations are not a problem. Canyon Customs, we could stand a bit more weight. We could stand to be closer to, like, say, 5 3/4. But I'm sitting on a bucket, pretty happy with it. And if anyone is thinking it, yes, a good bit different from how Gary MEUS drives. It's effectively the same thing. Nice, real nice. Cut it, cut back. Oh, real good. No hesitations up there. Oh, so good. Fusion SE, Amazon Blue Case, Canyon Trails. See, I got the pumpkin on there. We just slide it off. There you go. Come around the top. How about the stability on the drop? Kind of just reposition the rear end around. Whoop. Boop. It's a maneuverable guy. I'm gonna have to look back at Gary MEUS again. I think he needs, because we built him on MEUS, all MEUS links. I think I should have put him on the RC Lions. I want to say he's closer to like a 313 area, 315, somewhere in there. That extra wheelbase it's doing something. Yeah, there's some real low speed maneuverability there. That's nice. Counter steer, come down. Yeah. No one wheel threw itself in the air. Like I say, I can't take credit for much. I just chose the pieces and did a bit of trim to fit. Element gray band rear I'm sorry, element gray band front, element green band rear. So 1.4 front spring, 0.7 rear. Was guessing. It's cab only. There's really no weight out back. This is pretty planted. What is that nose lift going to look like? It was throttle. We pushed it via throttle. That's absolutely solid. Absolutely solid. On the comebacker, try to go high up here. Yeah, it is. I don't want to say a rare thing. It's relatively rare in under the confines of a ghost ride, in that underdrive overdrive to tire is really pretty close. That's a 15 tooth Vanquish pinion. I thought it was appropriate to put a Vanquish pinion on there. I would have I love me a Radial Link, but the sensitivity of their low voltage alarms, both in telemetry and for the transmitter, groan. It they're like, oh, you're down to only 70% of your battery's capacity. Allow me to chirp at you constantly. So then you turn it down and forget about it. And usually you turn it down recklessly and forget about it and then pull the batteries down too far. So it's an argument that the radios and I frequently have. Okay. Wanted to put a little steer angle into it. There it is. Yeah, I'm still in debate. I don't think the brass rings are explicitly required, but I also don't think they're gonna hurt that much. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. We love a portal. We love a 330 wheelbase. Canyon Trail. There's nothing not to like. I mean, really. Is it the answer to everyone's crawling question? No, I don't think so. But say you're a scaly guy. Scalar guy? Say you're a scalar guy. Maybe you need to lay in the sun to warm up in the morning. If you're not a flat plate, if you're not a carbon fiber guy, this is a fantastic place to start. The MEUS nylon axle is certainly, arguably, I mean, it's not an absolutely true statement, but in my estimation, it is one of the best values on the market. $80 a pair. And Vanquish parts fit them. You can put Vanquish knuckle weights on them. You can put Vanquish gears in them. As a matter of fact, and also the MEUS parts themselves, all the internals are like $15 for the full set of internals. I have read people have had problems with the internals with the universals breaking. I've never broken a universal. I mean, I'm sure that I've cursed myself now into breaking a universal, but this would be set 8 of MEUS nylons that we've either sent out or are in service in the fleet. The twins are both on MEUS nylons. Gary Musey, Ratchet. I lose track of all of them. There's almost too many. They're just that good. There's really nothing not to like. Now, you could do a build very similar to this, and you could run TRX4 axles, which would give you a ton of gear reduction, and then you would basically need a Fusion Pro or something even higher kV, because you'd be looking at a lot of gear reduction. 1800 pretty much perfect for this for the all MEUS on the MEUS axles. Was that cut back too much? No. I think it's going to push through. Might brush. That's good. That's real good. I'm going to have to trim those fenders, though. Whether I want to or not, I'm going to have to trim those fenders. So I don't know if I would classify this as a creation. This is a bit of a curation. I had these parts in mind. Okay. We came to a conclusion as a collective, me and the group. We sort of said it needs to be not the canyon build, but all of those elements, the things that that people have, I'm gonna use the word whined in the comments. Oh, great. Another servo on axle fusion. Yeah. Find me the better option for power plant, looking at all of the aspects of those power plant. Would I get better, more precise, more granular low speed control from a Rhino V80 combo? Yeah. And I can choose a greater number of KVs to pair with it. It would shave weight. This thing would get even lighter. But almost double the cost of what's in there. You don't beat a Fusion 1800. It's compact. We can do, how low can we go? I think we're good at about like 13. You can't beat that because he's doing it all for himself right now. I'm just sitting here. Let's see if that low of wheel speed will pull up over the center cut or if it's going to get jostled out. It's 18%. Is it 18? That's 13% throttle, by the way. On soft side, Daphne's third, which is actually the hard side. We call it the soft side because it's the more difficult side. Canyon Trails, 13% throttle. Why are we putting cheap $80 power packages in there? Because that. Show me better. You know? CBA. It all comes down to CBA, whether you wanted to or not. What I would hope for you, one and all, is that we achieve a financial position in life where our wants are above, we can place our wants above our needs, where we don't have to just deal with the needs first. So building that which sits center frame now, I'm sorry, I do apologize, that which sits center frame now, it has everything that it needs. The question is, does it have anything, is it wanting? What is it wanting for? Paint. It would like some paint. Does it need paint? No, you can drive it like that. You could just be an absolute unmitigated savage and just be like, nah, I just run my bodies clear. I hate paint so much, I'm just gonna run them clear. It needs paint. It might want for a little bit more forward weight at some point. But I'm not 100% sure it needs it. That might be something that we want. Wants over needs, you know? Let me see if I can repeat the hesitation. No, too good there, right? Okay. So this is this is a bump line, right? So we would go, right? Perfect. That's a near perfect bump. It got a little, there we go. That was a perfect bump. First one got a little unshapely. Rear end nudged over a little bit. This little hesitant chatter here, that will kind of go away over time. That's why anytime we come at it with just a little bit of oblique on it, little tiny hesitation. Get a little steeper into the oblique, less hesitation. Because we're engaging more of the lug. Hey, there's our guy. We haven't heard our guy in a minute. He's going straight over wherever he's going. That guy going somewhere. I'm really pleased with this curation. Not just because it was built economically. I don't even know what I was doing right there. I want people to see it not for what it is, but for what it can. This is, if this were an RTR, if this were the Canyon RTR and we had fancy graphics and unreasonable markups and all of those things, this out of the box is extremely good compared to anything else, the RTR. And this is out of the box, only in place of box we have bench. This is FOTB, fresh off the bench. And I wouldn't say that it's the most earth-shattering thing that has come off the bench. We've been either genuinely surprised or overwhelmed in terms of being impressed by how things have come directly off the bench. But for what we've put together, this is, I don't want to, how do we verb hyperbole? Hyperbolize? Hyperbolize? I don't want to hyperbolize it, but this is remarkably good. I can think of a reasonably long list of this sort of vehicle sold under the pretense of doing this sort of thing, that if they had come out of the box at this level of performance, I would be very, very, very happy with them. And then people wouldn't like that. And by people, I mean companies, corporations, and manufacturers, because the aftermarket is where they live and die, right? The movie is what draws you in. You go to see the movie. And the hope is that you will buy as many concessions as you can fit inside of your body. When you build one of these, when you buy an RTR, and now to a further extent when you buy a kit, their hope and goal is that you put as many concessions as you can feasibly fit under the body. I don't feel like this thing needs more. It needs paint. I have to buy a radio. This is an in-house, this is sort of a fleet radio. At least we fell on dirt. But sometimes the efforts to save it are more counterproductive than just letting it roll. This is nice. This is proper nice. I am comfortable putting my name, for whatever that's worth, on this as something that came out of here. It qualifies. And we're doing another bingo, I guess. The Canyon, after the completion of the following installment of this, when you get to see it in its quote-unquote finished form, as I mentioned, it will depart for Spain, which will mean that Canyon vehicles will now live in Norway, Belgium, the UK, and Spain. We're filling out our European bingo card at immense shipping expense. So the recipients of the Canyon of Canyon builds, be thankful for all of the. You all are a collective. We all exist inside this beautiful circle of crawling. And the contributions from members and non-members alike are what makes stuff like this possible. Because when there's a little surplus of money around Google Pay Day, we could spend it on something, and we do, but we could spend it on something that we never intend to keep. Because why not? Right? I got to catch them all. It doesn't mean I have to keep them all. We're running. There's still more. There's still more rigs that will leave. They're not going to leave constantly nor consistently, but they will depart the Canyon in their own numbers. Probably, honestly, as time goes on, for every 2 Canyon builds, there'll probably be one that's leaving. I mean, I think in the last 2 months, like 9. If we count this one, like 9 rigs have left. And that's great. I would love them to be out there where they can get used more, because the problem here is we have a huge number, and sometimes rigs go months and months and months without being driven. So, bound for Spain, born of the canyon, a little bit of live stream, a little bit of bench time. Consider the MEUS. All the parts will be in the description, because there's nothing on here you can't just put your hands on. That's how it ought to be. I had a great time, everybody. Honestly, there are times when it doesn't happen often, because I'm just too busy. I'm just too busy. There's always content. There's always content. But there have been times when I turn off the camera and just drive till the battery runs out. Doesn't happen often, but it happens sometimes. That won't happen today, because A, I have too much stuff to do, and B, I haven't painted that body yet. Ghost rides are supposed to be a relatively finite length, and we have reached that determined end, where I do the usual things, where I invite you to put your questions, comments, concerns, or what have you in the comments below. I ask graciously that in between now and when we meet again, you one and all do your very best to have a good one. We'll see you again here from the canyon. I don't know about anybody else, but I like the orange and non-gold wheels. There's something about them. I like a wheel you can't get without making it yourself. I turned wheels into a kit. It's not the cheapest way to do it, but by golly, we like it. I like this guy too. He sounds good. He drives good. He looks pretty good. We had a good morning. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good rest of the week. I'll see you in the comments. I'll see you on the Discord. I'll see you in the live. I'll see you in all the places. I'm not lurking outside your house, but I will see you virtually. Thank you so much for joining us. And I sure do hope that you'll come back and you'll see us again.